funny thing is, there was a time when this type of thing was actually popular. Like you have these sort of just wild out there. It was more of an 80s and 90s type of thing. Literally 80s in the 90s. It was like, well, for the most part, just these wild, ridiculously colorful, ridiculously out there concepts. Like the crazy hair colors, uh, war paint, tattoos. Um, the characters just look kind of ridiculous. Like Guilty Gear, even though that was still to this day it kind of holds up. The concepts are still pretty cool actually to this day. But that's the look that was going on at a certain time. That's what this game looks like. So I'm using Panzer Bandit kind of as an example of something that's pretty similar to it. Not necessarily similar in the movements of the characters or the moves, but the style and the look to a degree. It's kind of I actually think it's like really weird. It's almost like like one of those weird, weird anime things. Like kind of reminds me of this show. It reminds me of this show I used to like called Outlaw Star, where it's or if anyone's ever played the game Panzer Bandit, it has that type of or Guilty Gear. It has somewhat of a look like that, but it's way goofier. But it's kind of like futuristic. The colors are ridiculous, so I'm sorry, it's way too much color. Now, don't get me wrong, watching it is kind of fun because there's just so many colors going on at once. But at the same time, it kind of, in my opinion, takes away from the overall coolness of the game because it just seems goofy. And it's just, like I said, it's too many colors. I mean, it looks like puke. That's just my opinion. But yeah, it has a really cool look to it, honestly. Like when you look at the backgrounds, you'll see, different type of electronic things and pipe workings and all this stuff. So to me, that's really cool. And I'd say it reminds me a lot, for some reason, of Outlaw Star the cartoon, or even like what's another anime? It reminds me of Shadow Skill to an extent. Actually, probably more of Shadow Skill than Outlaw Star. Kind of reminds me of a combination of both. I mean, I would say overall, as a 2D game, though, regardless of how goofy or colorful it is, it's an amazing looking, amazing running game. What I mean by running when I say it is how smooth the fighting actually is, how smooth the animations are is amazing. The camera work, how it zooms in and zooms out is absolutely amazing. The details of the backgrounds and the small details of the characters is amazing. Even down to like the scores that they made, the way that they chose to set up the characters, like the screens, like the select screen, the start screen, whatever. It's all amazing looking. I mean, honestly, I'd say as goofy as that game is, as goofy as it is, I rarely see something that every part of it, like the music, the sound effects, the smoothness, the way the camera might move, if there's much camera movement at all in the gameplay, the counters, the moves, all of that, the sound effects, the life bars. I'd say this game is an amazing game. I'd say the graphics, the graphics are pretty good. The graphics are okay. Honestly, I think they're kind of goofy. I'd say the only thing I don't like about the graphics are the art style is kind of goofy. The graphics are kind of goofy, and there's way too many colors going on. But the good things I'll say about the graphics of this game are the fact that like when you move closer to your opponent, the camera zooms in. When you move farther away, the camera zooms out and the characters get kind of smaller. And I'd say like the countering is very good. The animations themselves, you know, like the sprite animations, like when you're, let's say you're doing an attack that takes kind of like a lag, like a long, drawn-out attack, the animation seems to be very smooth. Even though the combat can get really hectic. So that's something I really like about the game. I like that you can also cancel out projectiles by doing a strike. So there's a bunch of types of counters you can do. And just the timing, the way the characters move, I'd say the moves that they actually do, in my opinion, are not anything spectacular, but the amount of creativity put into how they move and what type of characters are in the game, I think is pretty cool. Like I'd say again, it's probably my favorite thing about the game is how smoothly the animations move and the type of fights you can actually have, like the counters. If two people are doing something at almost the exact same time, just how perfectly smooth those counters go through in those animations for the attacks, work. To me, it looks really good.